You don't have to eat. Anybody doesn't want to eat, you don't have to eat. We're buying the good stuff. Yeah. Trying to get rid of it. Oh, and Skittles drink? Yeah. And Skittles, they make my kids, you know, there's Skittles, Skittles everywhere. Yeah, you know, I mean, that's one thing that I think is good is that food. Food, the same as the carrot. They can put artificial color in there. That's right. Well, I certainly and show. Harry Davis. How you doing? Yes, mother.
Call the meeting of the Macon-Bibb County Board of Elections, the order on January 15th, 2026, 4 o'clock. Need the motion to approve the minutes of that meeting.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Any all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Other comments, beginning 2 minutes. Anyone have any discussion about anything for 2 minutes? Hearing none.
I think you're right on.
Right on.
My name is Elaine. It's a pleasure to be here. That's an awful long way to walk. I have realized how hard it is. That I can't quite make things as fast as I have in the past. And I really do think that I'm hearing from a lot of people that that's something that needs to be addressed. it is a fur piece. It really is. And I think that needs to be addressed. And I've also heard that from some people that they're not secure in their feelings about whether they're actually on the road voting in the right location. So if y'all could just kind of take another look at that and make sure that people are voting where they should be voting, I think that would go a long way to restore confidence of those folks who are feeling kind of like, I went to vote, but there's a lot of, ambiguity about whether I'm in the right place or not. So I would just like to ask those two things, and thank you.
Anyone else?
I'd just like to express my gratitude that it was possible to put the January 20th voting information on the website so that people can get the information that they need. There was kind of a last minute request and it was satisfied immediately. So this was really good that people have the information they need for the special election so that people know that something is going on. So thank you. The thanks is, of course, Mr. Gillen and the IT department. So they did a great job together.
More than. How many precincts do we have? 10. And how many total voters?
About 36,000.
So there are 36,000 eligible voters to vote in this election Tuesday. And so far we've had 800.
We're over 900.
Oh, we got over 900.
We'll probably pass 1,000 before the early voting. Which is about 2%.
Any more comments?
Sorry, Mr. President.
Any more comments? Okay, next order of new business is proposal to remove, vinyl, seasonal clothing place in First Christian Church, 2306 Vinyl Avenue, at the Vinyl United Methodist Church, 2445 Vinyl Avenue. Any discussion on that?
So I'll second for purposes of discussion, but I do have a question. Mr. Chairman, I wanted Mr. Gillen to share with us the reason for this move.
Well, First Christian asked us, they said they wanted to move on from being a public place. So they didn't elaborate why.
This has been happening with some degree of frequency, and I think that it would behoove us to find out why, not to jawbone anybody into coming back. But if there is something that is causing this phenomenon, we need to find out what that is so that we can get to the bottom of it. I mean, it may be just that we're a little bit unlucky right now. I'm willing to live with that as a possibility, but not without some further inquiry. And I'm willing to personally make a couple of phone calls if nobody objects to doing that. I'd like to find out, why it is that folks are no longer satisfied with pushing polling places.
I think, one of our big locations got a church that changed hands and new people didn't want to put that term.
They were white.
They were like, my devil white, which is a big location for us, and they didn't want to say, but I agree with you, there's got to be a reason why they're kind of doing so. We can't be allowed to do things.
Which is about 5 or 6 of the past.
Correct.
Yeah, and this particular move, I mean, we're not talking about a long distance in this case,
No.
but the broader pattern is more.
And also from egress and regress out of this new place would be better than what First Christian Church is kind of up over there.
Any more discussion? There a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Voting place is moved to United Methodist Church. Second order, 2026 voting schedule, Sunday voting, May 3rd and October the 18th. Elaborate on that.
Yeah, just so we can get our schedules together, anything we want to publicize, and figure that those would be the two elections this year that would have the biggest turnout. Because we want to go ahead and, take the days ahead of time.
All right, so I want to ask a couple questions first. First of all, May 3rd is the election for the primaries for the state offices, and in our local elections as well, which is council and who else?
To one authority, to
Water
school board,
authority,
executive.
school, right, local elections, that's what we do May. Do we, there's mandatory 2-day Saturday voting, am I correct? Correct. In both these elections. So all we're trying to do is add that Sunday that we had on there. But it's the Sunday where our employees don't have to work for 3 weeks in a row.
And the other Sunday for that election would be Mother's Day, and that's.
And we don't
that
want to
didn't
do
work out
that.
well.
Well, we did do Mother's Day one day.
It didn't work out as well.
Didn't work out well. But my point is, I want to make sure that we're having Sunday voting, but not on the Sunday that we're having, where everybody has to work 3 weeks in a row. Does that make sense? Is that the calendar we're presenting here?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. Also, one more question I'll be done. Do we know if we're going to have to have an election in March yet?
That is being decided in about 2 hours, at the county commission. If I were a betting person, I would say March 17th would be the date they predict. The alternate would be to wait until May.
Okay.
And I don't think we want to wait quite that long.
So, Mr. Chairman, we do have a number of other possible election dates coming up this year. We've got a possibility of a runoff in Senate District 18.
That's all it's to say.
We've got, the possibility of a runoff special election for Mission District 5. We've got the possibility of a runoff for our statewide primaries.
That's all it's to say.
And we have a more remote possibility of a runoff in next year. And I would like to see Sunday voting for those elections as well, if those come up.
Generally, the runoffs are obviously they're on a much tighter schedule.
Yes.
And so it's a matter of when the text as the Secretary of State's office can get us the software and prepare the machine. We're usually doing good to have them ready by the Monday, the week before the election. And the only other option would be the Sunday before the election, third option. And that would be really pushing it.
I would just say, I'll be happy to vote in favor of these two, because I think we need to lay that marker down, have that plan. But I just want to be very clear that if it is at all possible for other elections to come up this year, that we need to have Sunday voting if at all possible.
You got time to prepare for that, so these two right here.
Others that are potentially coming up soon.
Well, we have a potential runoff in this election we're having next week. There will be a runoff. We have 6 people running. The chance to have a runoff pretty good, probably going to be pretty good in March. But I think we handle those individually, and I agree with that. We can look at the turnouts of this one, but I'm not sure. We'll just have to see. But we know that these 2 elections are going to be strong enough that we need to go ahead and plan for them. So with that being said, I make the motion we do allow Sunday voting for these 2 days in these state and federal elections.
A motion and a second for these 2 days to be adopted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Motion 3-2, for the May 3rd and October the 18th, Sunday voting. Next item on the list is appointment of poll managers. Each one of them should have a list in front of you. Anyone on there?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve this list of poll managers.
In a second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on these? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. We have approved one for the next election date for January 20.
All right.
Next, item on the list is voter challenge policy discussion. I think, I'd like to-
We have, and I emailed it to you all today, but I have at least one set here. They're the same ones that we've been dealing with, at least as of last. And, so I'll be happy to answer any questions. I assume that at some point everybody had a chance to review them. They're long, so you wouldn't really look at them the first time right now necessarily, but, from our standpoint, they track the statute, and they do have a provision for cost, which is section 4.
If you go over that, that would be really helpful.
Yes, I will. So. All right, section 4. I need to find where there is the 2/3 challenges. All right, we'll have to add to. So in the 230, it's section 4 in the 229.
Section 4, I got it.
In the 229 policy.
229, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it should be in the 230 also. I think that may be wrong. The costs associated with service of notices. Well, this says any voter asserting a challenge pursuant to 21.2.229 shall be responsible for payment of the costs associated with service of the notice upon challenged voters as follows. And what it provides is a process where if it's not kicked out for cause immediately and it's going to go forward, then an estimated cost will be provided, and it will have to be, and that's postage. Right? So it says the cost, if a challenge is not rejected due to any of the deficiencies identified herein, Macon-Bibb County Board of Elections staff shall, within 5 business days of receiving notice of the challenge, or as soon as practical thereafter, provide the challenger with an estimated cost of serving notice of the challenge to each challenge voter under section 229B, including the cost of postage and printed material. And then that would then have to be paid within 3 business days. And then give the supervisor about how to do that. So it's an actual cost, or that would be paid, not a necessarily fee. So it's just, hey, if we're going to spend all this money on postage, just help it out.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's important. We don't want this to be costing the board money that we don't have, but we also don't want to be collecting money above and beyond the cost of doing that service. But it's perfectly reasonable, given that that's a cost that we've been bearing, to make sure that the challenger does pay that. So we can do that.
Just very quickly, what is, what are the 2 differences? One is what, 229 and 230, why is there 2?
Well, there are 2, because one is a challenge of the voter to be registered, right? Challenge to the registration of the voter. The other is the challenge to vote in that specific election. It's just a little bit different procedure. So but they're very similar statutes.
Okay, and this is a state statute we were adhering to?
Yeah, so this puts in place a policy, and it goes through the statute, and in a lot of ways is just a policy that tracks it, but it tells the people challenging and the board, this is how we handle this, right? This is what we do. I know Mr. Ellington has asked me in the first place to prepare these so that when we get another one of these, we're not figuring out on the fly. As y'all may recall, we were the first county to ever do one of these, you know, and on July 1st or whatever, or say, 23 or 24, whatever it was. And, you know, we did the best we could, and I think we did adhere to the law, and I of it, but it was, not something that I think anybody wants to go into with that level of uncertainty. So certainly we could just follow the law, and then I would basically write something up like this before the hearing, and hand it to y'all, or we can have a policy in place that everyone.
But then, Mr. Chairman, there are a number of other counties that adopted policies.
My next question, how many counties don't have them?
Grace will tell you the exact number, but ours takes what we believe to be the best from the ones that are out.
What I thought. Okay, now, are you gonna put the cost in this one?
Yes, that's what I was gonna suggest to you all, if you approve, and again, this is not my decision, this is your decision, but the cost, that section should be into the 230 policy as well. If you approve it, I would approve it subject to including the cost language into both policies. And I'm interested.
And it's based on the actual cost, not the chart.
That's correct. So when it says estimated cost there, but the estimated cost is gonna be, okay, how many notices do we have to send out? And how much is the postage?
Right, and the brochure does, postage is not static, we don't have to revisit this every single time postage changes.
Any further discussion? Have a motion and a second on the floor, vote to challenge policy, all in favor say aye.
I wanna make sure that it's
You want to
including the amendment to make sure the 230 has the cost, provision in it as well.
So
We need to modify it.
So perhaps the right thing to do, either one of two ways, somebody move to amend the motion to add that, or you withdraw the motion and someone can make the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to amend the 240 policy to include the language on cost.
I have a question though before y'all do it. The cost is just the postage, not the time that people use, or the paper, or.
The paper, I think we could do if you wanted to. The postage is certainly, one that could be identified. The labor, what I didn't want to get into is going above and beyond our actual costs. And so I felt less comfortable with including the labor costs of the people that.
So we did.
And so that's why I did not put that.
Well, I just was wondering, there's a bunch that go out, and how much time somebody we have to spend on that, and the paper envelopes, all that costs too. That kind of,
Good.
I didn't know what y'all thought about that. I mean, it's like 5 or 6 going out, how much would you get 100 going out?
The cost of serving notices.
Yeah,
All it's in.
So
That would be an active.
it can be with include.
yeah, so that would be, you know,
Motion first change.
It's within it as it is within the language of the policy. Right. So.
I think in practice, it would be a good thing, just to do what more together in here, because that is part of the cost of doing this.
right.
So,
It's just cost of serving, so I mean, that can encompass the paper and envelope too.
did we get a second on that?
Yes,
So we're voting on the amendment right now.
correct.
So we have an amendment to, amend the existing proposal for those challenges. We have a motion and a second.
For section 230.
230. Just two seconds.
230.
It's in 229.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign.
Thank
The amendment is, approved. Now we vote on the policy itself. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The voter challenge policy has been approved. It has been agreed to. As amended. Other business staff report.
Our numbers, as our board, if you would, we have 105,536 active voters, 10,928 inactive, a grand total of 116,464. That number 12. We currently have 1332 voters waiting on BDS. That will fill up until the election, and then we'll start working down. We have 21 voter registration online through Oliver, and waiting registration on 290 pending voters.
Okay. Supervisor's report.
For the election Tuesday, we will necessarily have a meeting at 3 o'clock on the Friday, on the 3rd, to have a pre-certification meeting. If we can go ahead and certify at the same time, that would be my recommendation. But we may always have provisional votes and other reasons, and we may have to wait until 5:30 Friday. Then that long to do that, to fix any issues. And so either call you back again at 5:30 or meet on the following Monday. Hopefully, all that will be moved and we can do it all at 3 o'clock. The RLA will probably be the Thursday of the following week. 29th, probably. So that, more details are given. The commission right now, or in hour and a half, will be meeting to decide on how to handle the special election to replace Seth Clark, who resigned from County Commission District 5, to run for Lieutenant Governor.
Is that gonna be the night or the 20th? I think it's the 20th.
Yes, that's right.
It's on the
They're meeting on the 20th, meeting election day, not meeting, sorry. So, yeah, they'll meet on the 20th and decide on the details of that. I can make some guesses on, some of the details, but that's all they are, I believe. But, we'll handle that and find out. It will involve 6 precincts, part of 6 precincts, all of 4 precincts and part of 2 other precincts. It'll be about 26,000 voters eligible for that one. Once we know the details that might affect how our attendance is at Gabrielle, they just came out with a email suggesting the dates may have changed. When we know more, we'll know more. Finally, we will be moving another precinct. That's not earlier. Godfrey 5, which was the Harvest Cathedral, and then became Fall Line. Decided they want to move in another direction. So we have, we're talking to another location about possibly moving in there. But they won't be affected until the May election anyway, so we do have a little time to move in there. And that is our one.
Any legal report?
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of questions, Mr. Gillen. And some of this, we've talked about this, I just want this on public record. So with special elections on the 20th, how many early voting locations do we have?
Well,
The one that we're in the middle of right now.
oh, this one.
And why is that?
Because by the time they announced the special election, there were already events going on at both Clear Nursery and Lucas and Center. And so, given those 2 details and the fairly low expected turnout, we figured it would just be best to do it here at the office. We also were having challenges finding enough people to staff one location, much less 2 or 3.
Right. And I think the unavailability of those 2 other locations is certainly understandable. But to have this particular location, the one that is available, is far from optimal. We've talked about this repeatedly over the last couple of years. If you have any kind of mobility challenges, getting back here from the parking lot is a picnic. And, in other cases, it's been very easy to tell somebody who might have an issue with mobility, hey, the Lucas Senior Center is a great place. You'll be in and out of there just quick. I couldn't give that advice this time. Basically, if you want to vote and vote early, then you come and make do with this location. You wait till election day, or you try to trust the postal service with an absentee ballot. Those aren't great choices, and I think that it's not unlikely that we're going to see elections called at last minute in the future. I don't think we can solve this today, but I do want us to do some thinking about if we're going to be down to one early voting location, where that might be that's more accessible than here. And I understand that this location is within the bounds of ADA. We're not in violation of the law, but we're also not doing everything we can to maximize accessibility for others.
I have a comment. What about getting a little motorized cart where we could take people back and forth that have the ability to drive? We talked about that.
Listen, we tried everything from having, think about putting, years ago, we talked about putting, stations where you could stop and sit for a second and take a break, and putting ratings up and putting, raining up the whole middle of the thing with seats where people could see, which Commissioner Lucas, that which his commission recommended that. We thought about putting a golf cart out there, the owners of the building wouldn't let us do it. I couldn't agree with you more. It is a long walk. And I'm not sure if it's a hindrance to this turnout we've had, that we have 878 people vote out of 36,000 so far. And I just, I'm not going to blame that entirely on only having one location. I even have people say, why don't we have an early voting location closer to where this election precinct is? Nobody that lives in that area that votes for that house, essentially, live this way, so they got to come all this way. And it's because we're not equipped for that. I mean, I got shocked by this. It was a last minute election thrown at us at the last minute, but I do agree with you, and I agree with you. We have to do something, and we also have to do something, in my opinion, about signs. It's very confusing getting out there. We have signs that make this thing more of education, but it's way down in the middle, down there about courthouse. But we're going to fix that before we start having elections. I promise. Something about our signs.
Any more comments? Executive.
What is this, who's talking about everybody's?
Yeah, the resolution. I was gonna give it to Mr. Abbott after the meeting. I've already voted on it.
Oh, okay, I thought.
It's just, is this a fair, what I wanted y'all to do is make sure I'm correct, this is a fair representation of what y'all voted on.
Got it.
That way we can update the bylaws.
Tom, yes, this corrects Tom, that he can include it.
Got it. I'm sorry.
No, I'm glad you brought it up, thank you.
Okay, we're down to public comments again. Anyone have any comments? Yes, ma'am.
What you were just discussing, the fact that it is very difficult for some people to get here. And it just brought to my mind that because we do not have access to the absentee ballot boxes, we did at least have two, I believe. That would have been perfect for those people who are having some kind of issue about getting here. I know we also have a problem with new mailing procedures. That's very difficult for a person who wants to vote. And it's kind of discouraging that we're not doing more to encourage our citizens to vote. And with that in mind, I know you mentioned maybe having something closer to here. I know there's a little library at this time. Have you ever thought about using that for some type of purpose? Thank you.
I know that in the past that you've used the courthouse annex, where you can literally pull up to the door. What's the problem with continuing to use that for easy access?
I think we have been told some of that. Right?
They have four cases planned out.
They threw us out. And we won't be able to ever use it again.
What about the watch entrance?
Excuse me?
The watch entrance, the jewelry store entrance?
You know, if I may respond a little bit, you know, we have to, what we do is dictated by state law. There are places we can put that ballot box and places we simply can't put that ballot box. And right now, that ballot box is where we have to put the ballot box. Until the law changes that allows us to move it away from what's called inside our building, there's nothing we can do. I think I'm correct. And so, I wish we were able to roll that ballot box down there and have somebody watch it and then roll it back at the end of the night, but we can't. And, we did have two, we had one downtown, but now the state law says you can only have one per 100,000, population, but people that vote, we only have 118, and so we're entitled to one ballot box.
Is that to count, actually think about the senior citizens and the others who have difficulty getting to.
I am a senior citizen.
I know.
And I do understand, and I've been understanding since we moved in this building. But, and we have yet to find a solution, but we can stop that discussion.
Anyone else?
Man, I apologize, I didn't say anything to deal with, but your discussion about the, changes in the polling question. But I'm wondering how you notify all these people that the location has changed. I remember our polling place, which was the changed, and we received a white envelope, just nondescript, just very plain. I think I suggested at a meeting that you use some bright color or something that draws attention to it, because people are taking it as junk mail and throwing it away. And then on election day, if a number of people go to a location and the polling place is no longer there, there's no signs, there's nothing, or there might be a little sign there that says this polling place has been changed. I don't know what that process looks like, but it's discouraging to people. So I am wondering what the process is gonna be for notifying, because you've got how many new sites, maybe changes? I think I heard at least 3, so there. How many?
One was just decided on, and one will need to be decided on.
We got 2 new.
Okay, well, if they don't wanna have it, then pretty much gotta do, but like the potential of 5, and that's a lot of folks. And so, one other thing, I wanna hear what the process is gonna be for notifying those folks, because in the past, you've done that, but you've only had maybe one site that changed, but now, you've got a number of them.
Some of those changes have already been made, and
Well, where those folks know,
absolutely by law.
they had the little white
I'm
envelope,
not
the
sure.
long white
I don't know
envelope,
what I got this
was
one.
that the way?
You envelope for the precinct card.
You get that white card telling the precinct. Everybody gets in the mail.
You know, the one that gets lost in the mail or the one.
Understand, but those are out my state.
All I'm saying is, it's not effective.
And so that's why you need to get on your radio show and tell
Well,
them.
I talk about it every
I know
week,
you do.
every week, about as much information as possible.
I know you
But
do,
you
and that's why I
also-
said that a lot of people listen to radio.
You have some things at your disposal. There's an emergency notification system. And I'm just throwing this out of the possibility. You know, where you sign up and you get the call, this is the, emergency notification of your early warning system or whatever. Maybe using something similar to that. And then you reach a lot of people, and it's like the robocalls that we as candidates, use. I mean, you've gotta get to people, because it's not their fault that these things are changing. It's not their fault that we got a million elections right here all together, and we're gonna lose some voters because you got this month, March, the 5th, the District 5 is probably gonna be in March. Then you got May, you got a lot of elections in May, and then you move forward to, when's the next one? November, and possibly, runoff in between. That is just too many changes for people who are living their lives and, earning a living. Most folks aren't like us. They don't think about elections like we do. We keep it on our brains, so.
We turned into a discussion.
I just want to bring that from,
We've had this discussion
We've
before.
had a discussion before.
We have, you're right.
I know it's still.
And we're still.
Lady in the back.
Yes, I just have a question, because I'm sitting here listening. It's my understanding that you don't have a set protocol for special election,
I said,
protocol, for when a special election comes up.
State law dictates what we do.
I'm not sure. I don't know. As respects to what?
If, like, District 5, special election coming
Oh,
up.
we haven't even heard about it. That's from, the county comes to us and tells us. We just do what we're told.
Mr. Chairman, I said just, I know we're not supposed to do it the rest of the election.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we do have a protocol for carrying out the election. Once we're instructed to do so, we're sort of anticipating that they're going to instruct us, but it has not.
Okay.
I didn't tell anybody over here.
I was just gonna say, if the library extension is not available for any early voting, but that would at least be right by the door.
What?
The library extension,
You couldn't try that one, didn't
I'm not sure that electronically it could handle it.
Not even significant number of people.
We can work on something. We gotta meet or something. Yes, sir.
And this building is only wired to a certain area. It's not wired completely. Everybody thinks that this building is completely wired with the county electronic system and also their IT system. It isn't. And we can't go down into that area because we can't run our impulse system down in that end because it's not wired to that. And that's the reason why we're not able to get into that.
And we got an annex wire.
Yes, we had to go on special things to get that wire.
Anyone else?
I like saying folks.
Anyone else? That's all on the agenda today. Have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
Thank you, sir.